Hi folks, greetings from central Bhutan. I've been traveling around for a couple of weeks here, shooting all kinds of different things. I only had room in my bag for one long lens. I tossed up pretty much all of the different F and Z mount options and then decided on the 400mm f2.8 TC. In this video, I'm going to take you along as I shoot wildlife, people, and all kinds of beautiful festivals all around Bhutan. And I'm going to show you why I think this is the best long lens Nikon has ever made. Join me as I take tech on the road, explore a travel destination, and test out the gear in real-world conditions. This is field tested. Merry Christmas, folks. We're just hit the road. We've got a 10 or 12 hour drive today from Monga to Bumthang in Bhutan with lots of stops. Saw lots of pretty birds around this area, so we're just taking a little walk, which might make it an hour longer of a day. The long lens stuff is really fun. It does require patience and not a rush schedule, but so far we've already seen fox, deer, a couple of different kinds of birds that I'd never seen before, including the female of the native peacock, so pretty cool. Check out mattgranger.com/workshops to see the different tours and photo workshops I have coming up. As I was filming some prayer flags for B-roll, I managed to do this. As I fell, I put out my left hand to protect the camera that I was carrying, which resulted in a banged up index and ring finger. At the end of my trip, when I got to the capital, I went and got an X-ray, and it turns out that I shot most of this video with a fractured finger. Whoops. Be careful out there, folks. Now, I know when you're face to face with someone, this isn't exactly a discreet lens, but I'm getting some of my favorite portraits of the festival so far, and I'm far enough away that they're just candid because they don't even notice me. And this lens image quality for portraits is just astonishing. I'll share some of the shots with you after this. So we're in Shamgang area now, famous for golden langurs. One just walked across the road, and on the road isn't the most interesting shot, but then it stopped and sat on the side, and there's another one up in the tree here. This is actually like the third time we've seen them today, but different kind of trees and stuff makes for interesting shots. Oop, and he's starting to jump around. So the cool challenge, they always seem to be in overcast areas, which kind of sucks. It'd be great in bright light. but then they're, you know, through a bunch of trees. So it's like finding these little pockets where you can find branch, but then a shot through. And I've just noticed there's a eagle over here. Ah, and it just flew away. Damn it. Just before I got the shot. I got it flying though. They love whatever this fruit is. Okay, here's a nice little hole to get in. Stuffing his face with fruit. Oh, someone scared him off. Oh, right there. Ah, they're so quick. Okay, here's one that's nice and in the clear. It's really low light here. I'm up at ISO 16,000 to get 400th of a second. Oh yeah, that's your good side, buddy. Well done. So I just spotted one golden langur on the rocks beside the road. We stopped, and there's a whole bunch in a tree just like 10 foot above us, and they're not running away. This is a situation where if I had the 600 or 800, I couldn't get a shot, because at 400 they're so close. It's right there. I'm completely filling the frame at 400. Oh, this is magic. Well, okay then. If you're a Nikon Z user, folks, check out my expert setup guide. It's linked below. It takes you through every single camera in the Z range, shows you all the physical controls, how to set them up out of the box, and how to customize them to get the most out of them for your personal style of shooting. Full details below. Good morning, folks. It's 6 a.m. in Panbung. I've just gotten up, threw my clothes on, grabbed my camera, and I'm going on a bird walk. Apparently right around the camp here, we should be able to find hornbills and other great birds that become active as soon as the sun properly comes up. So I can't wait. Right now the moon is still out, the sun isn't visible, but early mornings are worth it if you're going to see some wildlife. We got a variety of different birds on the walk. Now this shot, it was super low light, but this is actually the hardest bird to get in the region. Apparently when UN researchers came, it took them 3 days to spot this little guy, so I was happy to capture it. So we're out for our second walk of the day. The guy just heard the cock cock of the great hornbill. It should be somewhere in the jungle, so we're just crossing through a farm to try and find it. Now these aren't the best shots, but this was my first glimpse of a hornbill and it was so exciting. They're so huge and the call is so distinctive. It's a good sign for what's to come. Okay, so we're in Pambang. We're about to take a river raft for a couple of hours down the river, almost to the border with India. I'm taking the 400 because apparently there's lots of bird and wildlife along the way. Hopefully I don't fall out and destroy my Z9. Well, this is the dodgiest bridge I've been on. And I've been on wooden ones. Hey! Okay, let's go. Hey, are you coming?
No, 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 no.
Gross. great. We were just driving out of the area famous for hornbills. We did get some yesterday, twice. I think 5 birds in total, but they were a long way away. Spotted one in this tree, and then its partner flew in. They're in great light. They're really close at 640 or 560 here. I'm completely filling the frame on both of them. And they're preening and eating and cleaning their feathers and rubbing their beaks on the tree, all in direct sunlight. And I can choose to either go a bit lower and have the blue sky behind them, or step back a bit and have the mountain behind them. The mountain is nice to fill it in, and if I shoot wide open, it looks nice and just blurred out and green. If I go closer in, then I can put the sky behind them, and then I can shoot, up at f8 and not have to worry about the background getting a bit crunchy. It looks really nice. Okay, so we just saw another pair even closer to the road. I've got my photos, got my videos, so I'm gonna walk a little closer, see if they're gonna fly away. In case they do, got my settings all right. Actually, to get the frame of the tree, so if I get too close, I cut the tail or the top of the tree off. Oh, I think it just had a poop. The lady. Let's see, are you guys gonna fly? Yep. Fuck. Now, when I was finalizing to bring this one, I was shortlisting this and the 800 PF. I was thinking to bring them both, but then I just didn't have space. I went with this because I had the 1.4 teleconverter and 2x teleconverter, so that gets me out there anyway. I have to say though, after the first few days, I stopped using the teleconverters entirely, except for the built-in one. I just found that I was missing focus more, and the image quality was degraded more than me just shooting it with the lens, no added TCs, and then I just crop it. Now, I'm at the end of my trip now, and I think I can safely say I made the right choice. I'm shooting people, animals, and birds. If I was shooting no people, just animals and birds, then the 600 TC would have been the best option. If I was shooting no people and no animals, and I was only shooting birds, then the 800 would definitely be the way. And, of course, you also have the option of a zoom, but the image quality of this I've found is just spectacular. There is, however, one thing that has really frustrated me. I'll tell you about that after a bit more footage. So we just arrived into Fujita Valley and spotted the black-necked cranes in a field right beside the road. Normally they're out kind of in the middle of nowhere. I wasn't sure I'd get a close shot of them. But here I'm already kind of filling the frame. The only thing is having a fence behind them doesn't feel too in the middle of nowhere, so I might go up this. So this is the spot we added to our itinerary last minute, coming to Fujita Valley. That's the nesting time for the endangered black-necked cranes. And there they are, right there. With the 400, I can fill up the frame pretty well with the TC. Interesting having them in front of the house, actually. That's an interesting shot. Let me stop video and get that photo. Yeah, beautiful birds. They're actually one of the tallest birds in all of Bhutan. They're like 1.20 meters to 1.40 meters, I think, standing. So that makes them even bigger than like griffins and the scavenger birds. Interesting having them all on the fence in front of the house. Nice. Unfortunately, it's their backside, but still not a bad start for finding and photographing these endangered birds. Man, we're getting lucky with these cranes. We just spotted, and maybe the same ones, another 2 adults and a juvenile, this time under some prayer flags. I was using the 2x teleconverter. I've just taken it off because focus isn't as good, image quality isn't as good. And let's see if they take off with the prayer flags in the shot. Really interesting, this camera keeps focusing on their butt, not their head. I guess that's part of their camouflage to protect them, that it must look like another head. Man, it's so easy to focus on the ones that got away. I want to take a moment to talk about where everything went right. We came to this monastery mainly to film some cutaways. Then I noticed the 3 birds under the prayer flags. I changed my teleconverter off because I had that for longer shots. Got all my settings right just as they started to fly. I already had lock on with the birds. Everything, was planning meets timing. And I got a shot just as the birds were flying through the prayer flags, pin sharp as well. I don't think I've ever seen a shot of these rare birds flying through prayer flags like that. So that might be maybe not my favorite shot of the trip, but the most kind of serendipitous, special, hard to get shot. So check, and let me get back in the car because my fingers are about to fall off. It's freezing. Whew, just a few minutes up the road. Beautiful temple, crazy clouds behind it. The long lens is great for this, to be able to compress the scene down and just get the elements you want. There's some crows flying around there, little detail shots on the hills as well. It's not just a bird lens. I've been shooting people loads with this, as well as birds, animals, and also landscapes. Morning folks, it's our final morning here in Bhutan Valley. Last hour or so shooting the cranes just after sunrise. There's more than 100, I'd say, out there at the moment. Pretty nice. Get the last few shots and then we're heading back to Para. Now the one issue I've had with this combo, other than that shutter issue, isn't actually a lens issue at all. The lens has performed perfectly. I love this lens. It may be actually my new favorite lens. But the issue I've had is, and this is a Nikon issue, it's not limited to the Z9, I find it with all of the Z cameras, the focus lock-on and tracking is great, except for when you're currently focused beyond your subject. It could be a person, it could be a bird or an animal, you're in that detection mode, but if you're focused beyond it, it doesn't pull focus back far enough to detect the person. So there was a lot of shots where there are amazing birds or a great candid moment with people where I have them blurred out and the background in focus, and you have to manually wind this back to pull the focus in front of your subject, but then for it to detect them. Please, Nikon, fix that in future updates of firmware. If it's looking and can't find a subject, just try pulling the focus back rather than staying in the distance. I did miss shots with that on this trip. You can, however, program these focus recall buttons to be a set distance. Say for birds, you might set it to 10 meters, then you pull it, and that's most likely going to be in the birds, in front of the birds, and then you're able to grab them with the tracking.